I feel like I'm surrounded by superstars in this virtual room. Between them, these women have an impressive list of credentials and very exciting histories. So I wouldn't be able to do them justice, and I will let the panelists introduce themselves. So first of all, I'd like to invite Anna to tell us a little bit about herself and her work.
Hola,
Hello, can you all hear me?
Perfect.
Perfect. It is such a pleasure to be in this meeting today, to be able to hear you, to have been so surprised, because, well, for us who are in America, we always look to Europe as as the first world, and you always have had the role of telling us that we are underdeveloped. But it doesn't seem that's the case, unless as regards the issues at hand. My name is Ana Dones. I am a founder member of REDI, the Network for the Rights of People with Disabilities. We exist since 1997. One of our main characteristics currently are two issues we focus on. We monitor the convention because Argentina is a country that ratified the convention. I was one of the people who co-drafted the convention as part of the Cuckoos from Latin America. And we are an organization who presented two alternative reports to the committee. Another important issue we're working on through the UN is the issue of women, disability, and sexual and reproductive rights. The current situation of women and girls with disabilities is quite worrying because the states do not respect their autonomy, their independence, and do not give them the necessary resources for education, autonomy, independence, for education and health. These maim their opportunities to develop as people, and they show the double discrimination they suffer as women, as people with disabilities. As regards violating the rights as regards health, there's a lack of access to the health services because they don't know the knowledge, they don't have the access to the information. Professionals lack the knowledge, and they do not always give speak in simple language or in sign language. As regards the respect of sexual and reproductive rights, they do not apply the protocols of abortion, which is an act, a law that was just passed in Argentina not long ago. Another uh, uh, attack is the forced sterilization pushed by uh, people around them. Luckily, at the moment in the Congress, there is a law about to be passed, which were with which through which women have to always give their consent to be made to be sterilized. As regards uh, the protocols for the area of sexual and reproductive rights are not always applied, and that's also another violation of their rights. In some cases, especially in women who are institutionalized, they become sterilized without even, I am talking about the contraceptive system. I mean, they sterilize to be made infertile without asking them. They sterilize them just in case. So we understand that when we began our project about inclusion, what we wanted to do, you may remember that Argentina is a country that has 2,708,000 over 2,800,000 square kilometers. So what the situation is not the same in Buenos Aires or in some remote towns of the Republic. So this project we set up had the objective of reaching towards inland in the hinterland in order to make women leaders, women with disabilities, to make them leaders in Argentina. The project was set up in 2018 and it was carried out during 2019 in person and in 2000 and from 2020 virtually. Through that project, we have built a capacity of 80 women to become leaders in the defense of the rights of sexual and reproductive health.
That's
And the
absolutely
idea is
incredible.
that they can share their knowledge with women within Argentina. One of the most important things we did, it's an app which has a very interesting function. I don't know if you can see it on my screen. It is called Our Decision, Nuestra Decisión. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, my rights here, mis derechos, my rights. And there you can see all the laws that defend women's rights. Lugares de atención. If I click that button, my GPS finds all places that have services for women. I'll click so you can see it. You see? I can see here in my area all the different places that offer services for women. Then there is another place I can click. And it says here, I have a problem. Through this, women can denounce having been used badly or abused. Helplines. These are telephones where women can ring if they're suffering violence. There's a forum, there's a place to exchange,
Sorry,
to write.
yeah.
This app,
Sorry to cut you off, Anna. That is that is absolutely fascinating, and I know
Sí,
that disabled women in Ireland, at least, will be hugely interested in following up with you. And it's great to see just the breadth and creativeness of the work that you're
bien.
doing. But I just wanted to, I'm conscious of
Hemos,
time, and I want to invite the other speakers. And as Anna has given us a very good overview of urgent issues in Argentina and in South America, I'd like to invite Gordana to come in and maybe introduce herself and speak to your country.
Yes, thank you. Hello to everybody. I'm really happy to be here today. By the way, I very like your hairstyle, man. I'm a white woman with a short blonde hair, blue eyes, which you could not see as I'm wearing glasses. And at the same time, I want to take this opportunity to express my congratulations to Rosalind McDonough, who I understand now have a title of doctor. And I worked with Rosalind 20 years ago when I worked in Ireland, and this is a great achievement that she made, and I really admire. It's great, Rosalind. My all good wishes. My name is, as you see, Gordon Rajko. I'm coming from Serbia, which is a region in Eastern Balkan, and I am founding member and working in the Center for Independent Living in Serbia as a director of political strategies and development. As for we in the centers have issues of women with disabilities as one of our main tasks, trying to do what we could to improve the situation. Few of the main problems at the moment is actually violence towards women with disabilities who are in residential institutions. I hope you all know that during the COVID pandemic, the institutions were locked off. People could not go out, even from their rooms, and it was not allowed for them to get any visitors and communication with their families, relatives, friends. And it lasted for more than a year, and it was really, really terrible, like they were in prison. So it was not, and you are not surprised that in this situation, violence against disabled women really were raised, and we are now trying to research that and to see what we could do about it. Of course, women with disabilities in Serbia share the same challenges as all the other women in other countries, as our speakers pointed out. And I don't know whether it is a privilege or a bad thing if you are 10 persons to speak in a row, because with all that excellent speakers who spoke before you, they actually tackle all the main problems and things, which then I'm not going to repeat now, because we face with the same problems as you said.
Yeah, I think especially what you were saying around the work you're doing on data collection really speaks to what Ruth was saying of just disabled women and girls not being counted. And that does seem to be a problem around the world for everyone. I'd like to invite Perko in to introduce herself and speak to her work now. Thank you so much, Gordana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really exciting to be here and see old friends from the CRPD and also friends from Ireland among those who are here. So I'm really delighted to be on the behind of my name. You had European alphabet. So I'm with the European Disability Forum, and I'm currently also with the European Women's Lobby. So I'm talking with a disability hat and a feminist hat. And I really would like to thank Penny for her very, very insightful view into the reality of having having to live with the insecurity with the kind of fear that other things that we have fought for 30 years, are they going to be taken away or changed beyond all recognition, so that we are no longer service-led. We are becoming back objects to be cared for. I'm sorry, I'm not opposing the emphasis and the need for and the necessity to speak about unpaid care by family members, but always when I hear talk about care, my disability activist antenna sort of starts to flicker, and I'm a little bit concerned because of course there's sometimes need for care also for disabled people, and our everyday may include many things that others might find difficult to contemplate, sort of everyday healthcare, physical care, physio kind of things. So in that sense, I do understand the dialogue of care, but I want to be very careful that we maintain our strong focus on independent, user-led living, so that we are the directors of our own lives, heroes of our own lives, or heroines rather, to have the ability to formulate life choices from our own values, from our own experience, from our own preferences, without having to consider whether some service provider has thought to include those in their packages. So that's why I'm very passionate advocate for personal assistance and personal budget schemes, and I've been involved in the fight for them in Finland, which is my own country, and also I've been listening into the discussions around personal budgets, and I've followed with horror what happened in England, and that sort of made me to change my thinking, because if the government can take it away overnight, so you no longer can go to work, or you don't have dignity in your daily life at home, then the system needs to be strengthened and rethought and started over.
You're
So
right. Not
this
only
is,
can we learn, oh, sorry for go.
of
Say,
course,
not only can we learn what works, we can also learn what doesn't work. I think this is why this building international cooperation, because it's an issue
yes,
that's important
and
to us
also
all.
I find it so very sad that the bad models, the cutting models, the austerity models, they move very quickly from government to government.
Yeah.
But the good models, they take for decades, and they take generations of us fighting for them and defending them and justifying them over and over and over again. That no, it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like in the 19th century. It's not like uh, it's just to give me a chance to be active, productive member of society.
Yeah.
And this
So
is for me a very, very keen issue.
yeah.
For the EWL, if I have 2 minutes, I would just say that we are just focusing on a new period, a new program, and there is a lot of talk about post-COVID rethink of the European social security and unpaid care and unpaid sort of invisible unpaid care and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm very much
Good
in the
time.
forefront of that fight. I just wanted to make clear that we can't allow ourselves to be reassigned to the role of passive cared for people.
A very, very important point. So I'm just going to invite in Aoife, and just because of the unfortunately short amount of time we have left, Aoife, and also because Joanne did speak to Ireland earlier. If I could invite you to introduce yourself and maybe talk about what you see, what work, international work and solidarity you feel would be helpful going forward.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Nem, for the introduction, and it's just such an honour to be here with people from all over the world, and especially, I suppose, thanks to the Women's Council for providing the space. It's really, really wonderful, and it's very exciting. I think it's the start of something. So I'm really, really excited about that. Just a little bit about myself. I have long brown hair, I'm wearing glasses, and I'm pale skinned. I'm a member of Disabled Women Ireland, a very proud member of Disabled Women Ireland, and I'm very proud of all the work that we're currently doing and have done. I'm also a PhD researcher looking actually at women's involvement in social movements, which is really exciting. And I've been an activist myself for over 10 years in the area of mental health. So I'm quite excited to be moving as well, continuing my work in mental health, but also working cross disability organisations as well. I'm really, really excited about that, and have learned so much from the people here today, and many who took part in my research, and it's lovely to be part of that community. And
how do you feel that kind of international cooperation could help in that work and in the fight for the right to independent living and freedom from sexual coercion and violence?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think really that I think that we can really actually, I can't remember who spoke to it already, but like really support each other in our work. And I suppose that will be in the case of, like, say, bringing something to the UN CRPD, that we do it as a grouping, or else just to national governments, that, like, you know, we support each other in our work. And I really think that the space, that's the biggest issue. Like, we've created a space here this morning, and I think that that's really important, to have a space to talk to each other, and I suppose just like to work with each other, and really support to women DPOs, I think, is really, really essential on the ground, support to strengthen them.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, said the app that Anna was showing us earlier, I can see being of great help in multiple countries, and that could be something very amazing, that if we learned from each other of those kind of very grassroots that get into where people need them. I'd like to just ask any of the other panel, are there any other things from today that you can see having real application in your work?
Sorry, what was the question?
Yes, please go, Dana.
What was the question?
Sorry, just from today or going forward, are there things like international cooperation, things that we can do across borders that will make a real concrete change in the work you do?
Yes, what everybody has mentioned, changing experience and writing to each other about the things we are doing and the successes. I also think that gathering of women with disability is a very strong push forward. And I know from participating in the World Women Conferences that it gave me a great satisfaction when I saw my sisters all around the world talking about the same issues, and you feel that you belong to someone which is much greater. So this might be one of the ways when all this corona thing passes away, that we think about organizing at least European conference on disabled women, tackling different burning issues.
Yeah. So just unfortunately, we've come to the end of our panel piece. So I just want to I'll move out just to give Anna a last opportunity, as she did have her hand up for a while. Unfortunately, Pirko, I won't have time to take your response right now, but definitely very, very anxious and eager to continue these conversations later. So just briefly, Anna, and then open for questions from the floor.
Sí. Sí,
Yes.
me parece que hay dos cosas que son muy importantes.
I think there are two very important things. One is that I was surprised that you do not have alternative reports that you're sending to the committee, because the committee gives the opportunity to each country to use that that opportunity to demand that each country takes action. There's another very important thing, which is today we received from Colombia a request for help because they have an arrangement with higher education which doesn't allow a person with an intellectual disability to go into higher education. So they're asking for our help. And this is not the first time that we would have intervened in this kind of issue in Latin America. And so I think those are two very important and essential areas to work in, helping countries that need help in some of those areas.
That's amazing. Thank you, Anna. So that's definitely, it's Ireland's first report to the committee. So international guidance from disabled groups would be very welcome.
And
so
Finland too, so we could share.
Oh, is it? Yes, let's share. Here we go. Let's go strong.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask Ali to come back in so that we can hear the questions from the floor. And thank you all so much.
Great, thanks a lot, Nem, and thank you to all of our dear guests.
So are there any other questions from the floor, Ali?
Yeah, well, maybe I could just bring in a couple of things. So one is just that there's been a lot of interest and response to the app that Anna, you shared, and also just to say, we hear that in Iceland, there's a similar web portal as you have in Argentina. And then questions around the app, you know, is the I wouldn't say we need to answer this, but just things to bear in mind. Is it accessible to blind people? And if so, you know, how would that be done? And just people saying, well, could we have something like that here in Ireland? Could we connect up the different services and groups and services in the Irish context? I don't know, do you want to answer that, Anna? Just, is the app accessible to the blind? Sorry, I know I said a lot there. I can actually just maybe leave that as a question for us to hold. I'm sure the answer is, if it's not yes, we would like it to be. Okay, thanks, Anna, and I'll get a translation of your message soon. So just Nem and all the guests, there was one other question, particularly for Aoife, and I wondered if I could read that one out. So let me just find it here. Oh yeah. So it was kind of when we went into looking at what's happening currently and then learning from other countries. So in the area of mental health, continuity of care is a major problem for us here in Ireland. Having to retell your story every time you meet a new doctor as they rotate every 6 months is re-traumatizing. At the moment, we're trying to solve this problem. Do other countries have a system like the UK's passport system that we might be able to develop here? So that was directed at Eva, but maybe there's others as well. But so Nem and Eva, just read that question out. That's it there.
Yeah, I'm happy to come in, and certainly it is the case. I was actually living in Belgium up to recently, and within that system there is the kind of passport as well, with all the information, the health information on it. And I think that's a really important point that you made. And actually, I suppose from working in mental health previously, that's something that comes up again and again, and I think it's really important, and that the issue of re-traumatization should really be considered. And I suppose as well, just to speak, like, I think it's really important as well that mental health is fully included in the disabled people's movement, and that we can be strengthened going forward together. But yeah, I definitely think that the idea of a kind of a knowledge transfer, or some sort of a card like in Belgium, would be really beneficial, and people wouldn't have to keep retelling their story or all their other relevant health information as well. But there's pros and cons to it as well, so, but yeah, I think it could have beneficial if it was an opt-in, kind of thing, that could be very helpful.
Great, thank you, Aoife. And just to say, just a little note to our foreign language interpreters, I know you're doing the verbal translation, but if there's a moment to translate the written text from Anna into English for the rest of us in the chat, that would be helpful when you have a moment. You probably don't have a moment. And just to raise another thing that's in the chat from Selena, just saying there is an app here in Ireland called MindMinder from South Dublin County Council, some of you might know, which might be relevant, focused on mental health, but we could look at that. And also further comments from Anne-Marie about, we need to campaign for a full commencement of the Assisted Decision-Making Act and work in solidarity with all men and women with mental health images. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, I forgot. The chat is not visible. I will forward that to you, to the Spanish interpreters. So back to you, Nem.
Yes. Just if there aren't other burning questions from the floor, was it Rosaline who had a question for this panel? Wasn't there?
She was happy. I mean, I would just say to you, Nem, it's over. We've got another couple of minutes to close this panel. So however you would like to bring it to end.
I'd like to invite Rosaline in and to pose your question now, Rosaline.
You're very bold, but thank you. I would really like to see all government policies disability proofed. I would like to see disabled organizations having anti-sexist and racist policies. And that was really it, ma'am. And also the young women, we talk about independent living and the right to bodily integrity and self-determination. And for me, those values, and I have to include women, and I know there's men, but this is about women, young women, very young women in nursing homes.
Thanks so much, Rosaline. Nem, just to say, you might not have seen, but Selena's also there, and maybe this is a good moment as we're getting to last moments. May I bring her onto your extending couch here? So,
yes, please, and then I'll let Selena take it away from there.
Okay.
Thank you so much to everyone on the panel. It's been an honor.
Thanks, Nem. No, I just wanted, in relation to what Rosaline just said, I think she's raised an absolutely essential point. And just an example of that was recently, at the moment, there is legislation going through our government to do with assisted human reproduction. There's a bill, and there was what they call a pre-legislative scrutiny process. And from that, there were many people invited to give oral statements to the committee, and there were 31 written statements. Not one oral statement, not one written statement came from people with lived experience of disability, or even addressed any of the issues in relation to access for disabled people to assisted human reproduction. I really highlighted the need for our legislative processes to be equality proofed as they are happening, because that is a huge deficit. And if it wasn't noticed, what law would we end up with? So I think Rosaline's raised an essential point there.
Yeah.
as well, I suppose, just like something we didn't talk too much about today, but Rosaline highlighted there is, you know, the institutionalization of people with disabilities in nursing homes and other settings, and how that's something, you know, we really need to be working on and addressing and ensuring independent living, and that I suppose communities is so strong here, and you know, that it's just so important that we continue to fight for that.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Aoife. Ali, will we
Yeah, well,
move
could
on
I, thanks so much, Selena. So Nem, just anything to say just to close this final panel, and then I will leave Selena to take us into the final part of our gathering.
Well, apart from the fact that it does seem like there are so many more conversations for us to have, both within our own countries, but reaching outwards. And again, I cannot thank everyone who spoke today, this panel and the area panel. I've learned so much, and it's been a real honor. So I'll show myself out now.
Oh God! Well, I'll help
Don't
you.
go
I'll help
too
you
far,
out.
Nem.
So just thank you very much to our guests, inviting you to step down from the sofa for now, and I'll do this shortly. And also, thanks to you, Nem, for the moment. And yes, over to you, Selena. Take us into the final part.
Great, thanks, Ali. Well, the final part today is, we thought we'd close in a slightly different way. Often at seminars and webinars and that, you have a rapporteur who kind of just comes back at the end of the day and kind of tells you what you've already heard, just to sum it up. So we thought we'd do it a bit differently. So we're delighted and honored to have Penny Pepper with us here today, who of course is an acclaimed author and poet and a mischief maker, I would like to add, and one of the original UK direct action activists, and a pretty cool punk as well. She doesn't really say that very often. What Penny is going to do, and I'm not going to say too much because she'll explain it herself, is really just to sum up today in a more of a spoken word piece, and something that is quite draft but will become a finished, accomplished piece over time, to really share what we've brought together today and guide us into the future. And before I hand over to Penny, I would just like to take this moment to hugely congratulate her. Penny has been recently selected as a finalist in the prestigious International Hemingway Shorts 2021 competition. And really is a significant achievement for any author, regardless of whether they're a disabled person or not. And I really am honored to have Penny with us today. So over to you, dear.
Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Brilliant. It really is a privilege to be here with you in this meeting. It's so empowering when we all come together and we know we're learning and stretching and absorbing our common views, but also learning new ways forward. So as Selena, and I want to thank Selena and all the organisers for inviting me. It's been exciting, and it's been a rush for me because I've been frantically writing, and well, I should say, I feel like I should bring my friend and colleague Teresa in, who's behind me. She's been taking notes for me and scribing madly as I fed her stuff. And now it's printed, so I'm honoured to do this. It is a scratch, as we say, an improvised piece, and later it will have some penny pepper polish. But thank you. And I've called the piece Gathering Solidarity Women. We voice and we sign and we speak and we write, and sometimes we might sing. We gather, 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 gather in collaboration from divergent places. Together, disabled women activists, locally, globally, find the spirit of sisterhood. Your flowering feminist hearts on the life mission with pride and open learning. We voice, we sign, and we speak. We write and perhaps we sing. We gather, gather, gather in collaboration from divergent places. Injustice brews storm clouds over solidarity. Under-representation feeds miscarriages of justice. Poverty scrapes our energy. As on repeat, they herd us into invisibility. Yet we are local and we are global. 500 million women bound by 500 million experiences of shared understanding. We voice and we sign and we speak, we write and we might yet sing as we gather, 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 gather in collaboration from different places. Defiance is the name we carry in joined communication. Each sister takes her path against that double discrimination. Our problems melt with passion and innovation. This alliance will fuel our souls to keep defiant to injustice and its rusty, crusty, tired face that sneers behind each fast arrest of barring buses, high court battles for independent living, to live as we wish, proactive and thriving. Because we are pride and learning and lead by the blood in our hearts as warrior women. We are society, a hive of problem solving, innovating, advocating, barrier breaking. We voice and we sign and we speak and we write and often we sing. We gather, 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 gather in collaboration from divergent places. We wear out low as we strive to win this patriarchal race, but then we fight, we fight, we fight over many years, different women, different countries, Ireland, Malawi, Argentina, England, Finland, Serbia, words from France and European, flowing far and flowing beyond. Each to our own in different ways, and how we can campaign for this sisterhood of common lives lived. Let's not be the afterthought, the forgotten and the misplaced. Acknowledge and address that many can't eat, bills stay unpaid, and that invisibility will not retreat. So wake-up calls stay overdue, but we are women, the 500 million, and our direct action is a force of multiple forms, of highs and diversions, to take back control, to be who we might be and who we are. We voice and we sign and we speak and we write and we sing. We gather, gather, gather in collaboration from divergent places. We might cry and wonder if, when we should stop. Rights eroded across the globe by COVID. Men make more barriers on top of so many. Reproductive rights and bodies under siege. We seek to find, we seek to form the organisations run by us and for us. From our lovely virtual couch, we know the replies. We find our voice, we find our power. We lift up others who think they're alone. We voice, we sign, and we speak, and we write, and we sing. We gather, 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 gather in collaboration from all the many places, and we work in sisterhood, equality, solidarity. Disabled women, we all join, we all learn as one. We will one day, all disabled women, flourish. Thank you very much.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Penny, if that's only a draft, my word. I'm a bit emotional here, and not many things make me emotional. Well, I'd like to thank you. And if you have anything more you'd like to say, go ahead. If not, I'll call on my colleague.
Just that, you know, this meeting has really inspired me and lifted me. I do hope to, you know, I will, in fact, give that piece more attention, and I'm happy to share that with you in a few weeks' time. I just want to echo it. That is my passion in that piece. Together is always better. Collaboration is always better. And what we do locally seeds what happens globally and overlaps. We know we have a power. We're just the barriers are many, but we must never lose sight of that. I live in my own flat with a 24-hour care, independent living support, actually, to say the preferred terminology. And it has been threatened, but I also work. And all of these things that each of us and all of us gain is to be recognised. It's often through the work of the women who've come before us. And I also want to say as well, which sounds like a shameless plug, but I'll say it anyway, that if you would like to become one of my YouTube subscribers, I have a film on there that actually won an award. It's a monologue written by me, but performed by Liz Carr, our very own amazing activist and actor, about the very beginnings of independent living and what we've come from. So she's talking from a care home perspective. I created this character. I'm very proud of that piece. And even in my memoir, which is first in the world somewhere, there's quite a lot about how I first got a PA and what that was like. Well, it's good for me. The hardback sold out now, but there are a few around, and there's also an ebook. I could just go on and on. My passion is to tell the disability story, and particularly the story of disabled women. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Penny. And on that note, I'm going to invite my co-conversation chair to rejoin the screen for us to say our thank yous and goodbyes. Nem, have you anything you'd like to say before I do the thank you list? Okay. Oh, yeah, landing me in it. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Nem. It's been an absolute joy to get to know them and to work together. And I hope we work together much more in the future at local level, because it's been an absolute pleasure and I've learned a lot. So thank you. Okay, the long list. First of all, I would like to thank Orla, who has rejoined us here this afternoon. It is so important that the National Women's Council recognise and value the contribution of disabled women and our experience and our lives. So it's an absolute pleasure. And of course, Maureen, a long-time colleague in the movement, and wonderful to have her as a colleague within the Disabled Women's Working Group now as well. I would like to thank our incredible speakers from around the world. I won't go through the whole list, but I thank you to all of you. Ali, the quiet force behind everything that has moved so smoothly and so well today. I hope again to work with you in the future. And Catherine Lane, I know Orla mentioned her at the beginning of our time together. Catherine from National Women's Council, who is of huge support and drive within the working group, but also as part of the team that brought this together today. I would like to thank our very hardworking interpreters and the Spanish translators and the real-time captioners, because we really worked very hard to try and make sure that everybody could participate today. I know you will receive word from Catherine asking you for your feedback. And one of those questions will be, is there more that we could have done to make the event more accessible? And finally, of course, Penny, for that just incredible. I bet there's never been a rapporteur at the end of an event like that, they're of such quality. But finally, thank you all, I don't know, 90, 100, but how many are of you who are out there. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for hopefully starting a conversation. that we will come together more in the future and work on such key issues. It's so evident that we have a lot in common, from, you know, kind of whether it's domestic abuse or lack of data collection to lack of representation within legislation and the development of rights. So we have a lot to work together on, and a lot of skills and knowledge to share and to learn from each other. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you and goodbye. And just if Ali or Nem or Catherine or Orla would like to say a final word, that would be great.
I wonder if Nem was going to say something.
No, just to, again, I really can't thank enough the amazing international activists that came to share their unbelievable wisdom and their precious time with us. Really, I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart, and I really am very, very eager to building with you, alongside you in the future.
If I may,
and thank to Catherine and to Ali and to Selena, of course. I'm very bad at thank yous.
Well, maybe what I could say, just I'm sure Orla, Catherine, and really sharing this, but just to say thank you to the two amazing conversation hosts, Selena, Bonnie, and Nem Cairns. This simply would not have happened without your leadership, the original of the idea, making it all happen, leading it with such passion and deep expertise. So it really was an honor, and I certainly hope that we can have many, many more gatherings like this, and that I could be a part of it if possible. So thank you to you both. I just wanted to say one practical thing. We're really at the end now. People have been asking, I've had the delight of seeing things coming into the chat to me. There's been useful links. Penny talked about her YouTube link. There's another one. I would certainly say on behalf of the Women's Council, you're doing the organization, we'd love to try and get those together and send them out to you. So that's just an answer to that. And then I think I'll just say that this is an end, and I invite you all, if you'd like, to come off mute, to say goodbye, or to click on an emotional reaction, to express what you feel about being here. We're so glad you're here. Here's to many more gatherings. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you.